The Mavericks look to conclude their 5-game homestand with a win against Rick Carlisle and the Indiana Pacers. We'll get you ready for tonight's matchup. Coming up next on the DLLS Mavs pregame show. Welcome to the DLLS Mavs pregame show, powered by Michelob Ultra. Cheer on your team with Michelob Ultra at 2.6 carbs and 95 calories. It's a superior smooth taste worth playing for. Michelob Ultra, official beer sponsor of the NBA. Kevin Gray alongside our DLLS Mavs analyst Bobby Carella. We are DLLS Mavs, your favorite guys, cover your favorite team for Game 5 of the Mavericks NBA season as they take on the Indiana Pacers tonight, concluding a season-long 5-game homestand. Appreciate all of you joining us here on DLLS Sports. We'll get you ready for tonight's game with our DLLS Mavs beat writer Ron Harrod Jr. coming up at 7 p.m. We'll let you know who's in, who's out. We'll focus in on our Mavericks player spotlight and get you tonight's X Factors going into tonight's game, Bobby, where it's hoodie season officially for us here at DLLS Mavs. What's going on?
It's good to be here, Kevin. Couple major announcements here. Number one, I am wearing the hoodie on here. It's the first time all year. I don't think that this hoodie in particular is a good look on the lounge. I promise I will go hoodieless in the post game.
Oh, wow.
You can do whatever you want. This specific one is just not great for me.
Okay.
We got to get it a little warmer in here before we can do that. But number two, and this one is more important, first afternoon nap of the season on a game day for me. I'm feeling refreshed. I'm feeling rejuvenated. I'm feeling ready to go, although it is going to be barbecue for lunch and barbecue for dinner, so I still might fall asleep on postgame, but I'm going to do my best.
What's about the time for you for a afternoon nap? You like to go hour 15, hour 20? Like, what are we doing here?
Today I was able to get a tick under half an hour. But
wait, does that qualify as a nap, a afternoon nap?
Yes.
I feel like it has to be at least an hour before we can qualify it as a nap.
For me, about 20 minutes is the sweet spot.
Wow.
Yeah.
I feel like you're just getting into REM sleep at that particular point.
That's the point, though. You don't want to do that.
You don't want to do that.
Yeah, you don't want to do
I guess
that.
I'm doing naps wrong because I definitely like to get about an hour if I'm going to do a nap in the afternoon, but that's just me personally. Shout out to Ron. I see you in the chat. Patrick as well. Some guy named Tanner is in the chat as well. Shout out to him. Let's get you ready for tonight's game as the Mavericks take on the Indiana Pacers. Game 5 of your Mavericks 25-26 campaign. They welcome in Rick Carlisle and a winless and banged up Indiana Pacers team. If you're going to be watching the game tonight, you can do so on KFAA Channel 29 with tip-off at 7:30 p.m. Mavericks 5.5-point favorite in tonight's matchup with the over-under at 227.5. Your Mavericks, of course, 1-3 to start the season, 1-3 at the AAC. Will look to get a win tonight before they get ready to head to, check this out, boys and girls, Mexico City for Saturday night's tilt with the Detroit Pistons before they play their first true road game on Monday against the Houston Rockets. Meanwhile, the Indiana Pacers come into tonight's game having started 0-3 on the season. They're coming off a loss on Sunday against the Minnesota Timberwolves, 114-110. Their second straight loss on their current 3-game road trip, which concludes tonight here in Dallas. Then they'll head back to Indianapolis to begin a 4-game homestand, which begins with the Atlanta Hawks on Friday. And then on the second night of a back-to-back, they'll take on what is the red-hot Golden State Warriors. So the Pacers looking for their first win of the season on the road and just period for the 25-26 campaign. A banged-up team, though, with a lot of injuries. We'll let you know who's in, who's out officially for tonight's game. Before we get there, though, let's learn more about the Indiana Pacers with our guy Bobby Carella when it comes to the Carella Strader scouting report.
Yeah, basically, I'm not putting your ball knowledge to the test tonight. I don't even want to put my ball knowledge to the test tonight.
Oh, wow, okay.
Pacers got a lot of guys out. They are already, it's not even Halloween yet. They're already having to cut guys to sign guys to play. Like,
they did.
Things are dire. They have 8 players out tonight. And so, rather than learn all about, Mac McClung and Ray J. Dennis and Quentin Jackson and Isaiah Jackson, just going to talk about what the Pacers do. So they still move fast. Their average speed on offense. So the average Indiana Pacer on offense is moving 5 miles an hour. That is the second fastest average speed in the league. Now, you think, okay, 5 miles an hour isn't really that fast. I can walk that fast, for crying out loud. So it's not that. But in basketball, so much of what you do is standing still. But that is factored in. If you're standing still, they track your speed as 0 miles an hour. So when these guys move, they move with purpose. They're getting out and running in the open floor. They're passing, they're cutting, things like that. And they pass a lot. Second most passes made per game in the NBA. Way more than any other team the Mavs have faced so far this season. They pass it on average 46 more times per game than the Toronto Raptors, who are the highest passing team.
They pass the most?
They pass the most of all the teams that the Mavs have faced this year. And so the way the Pacers beat you, they also drive to the rim quite a bit, 57 drives, which is a top 10 mark in the NBA. But really what they're trying to do is move faster than you were willing to work on defense. This is not a let's slow it down and, we're going to space the floor pretty well like the OKC Thunder, and then Shea's going to pick you apart meticulously, or we can swing, drive. No, the Pacers are just going to beat you down the floor, and then they're going to run around until you get tired, and that's when they're going to strike. So tonight is less, I would say, a test of the Mavs' defensive structure and more a test of their defensive willpower, a test of their endurance, a test of their stamina, a test of their want to, more so than can guys be in the right spot. You still have to be in the spot, but you got to get to the spot, before the Pacers beat you there. So it's really just a test of your lungs tonight. And, for a Mavs team that is already down 2 bigs, and AD has kind of admittedly said that, conditioning for him has kind of been a bit of a stressor. Fortunately, the Pacers are so shorthanded that it's mostly wings and guards anyway. So I feel like the Mavs could be up to the challenge tonight, but it really is just you got to be willing to work tonight. You got to be willing to work hard.
And you're going to be facing a Pacers team that has struggled to score the basketball, much like your Mavericks have struggled to score the basketball this year. That gets us to our lead story going into tonight's game. Can the Mavericks offense find a way to get off the ground? So far this year, it has been a slog on the offensive end. A team that's averaging just 108 points per game so far through 4 games this year. Currently with the worst offensive rating in the league by a few points at 103.8 the first 4 games. Meanwhile, Max Christie earlier this week talked about the Mavericks playing with stress, trying to figure out a way to relieve some of that stress with their abilities to still adjust to this offense. Right now, they're just 21st in the NBA in assists per game the first 4 games of the year. Bobby, they have to start getting the ball moving much more. You talk about the pace that's going to be required to play against a team like Indiana. Offensively, this team wants to share the basketball and get guys cutting and moving to be able to get some easy looks. They've got to be able to share the ball a little bit better to generate some easier looks at the basket to get some offense going in.
Yeah, but passing for passing's sake isn't necessarily a good thing. They have to move into open space and then pass to the guys that are in the open space, or beat a guy off the dribble, force help, and then pass to that guy. The Mavs don't pass a lot in general, but they also don't attack the basket a lot in general. They don't draw double teams a lot in general. And so until the player with the ball can become a threat to do multiple, they call it triple threat for a reason. You got to be a threat to shoot, to dribble, and to pass. And a lot of the guys on this team can do 1 or 2 of those things. But really, Kyrie is really the only one that is a triple threat from anywhere on the floor. And so until they can really establish themselves, establish some rhythm, establish some tendencies, guys can get hot, their starters can pick it up a little bit. Until they do that, it could be a little bit of a grind. The only way forward is forward.
Yeah.
They just got to figure it out.
And one person who will be looking to do that is Cooper Flagg. Cooper Flagg, of course, was just a 1 of 9 performance with 2 points in the game against the Oklahoma City Thunder. It was a -20 during his time on the floor. Was also at the arena a couple hours before the game, and the first person on the floor getting his workout in, Cooper Flagg. He seems to be locked in for tonight's game to get himself a bounce-back performance to get him back up on track, given the unfortunate performance that he had against the Oklahoma City Thunder, where the Mavericks failed to clear 95 points. They'll look to the rookie to be able to help out with some of that tonight. Pacers, meanwhile, come in with a guy in Pascal Siakam who has been terrific so far this year for Indiana. In fact, averaging 26 points per game, over 10 rebounds, and over 6 assists per contest, leading the team in points per game, rebounds, assists, and steals per game at 1.3. Their sharpshooter Aaron Nesmith so far this year averaging almost 13 points per game while shooting nearly 48% from three on 7 attempts per game so far this year. So he likes to get the three ball up and knocks it down at a pretty good clip. Meanwhile, your Dallas Mavericks are led by, of course, Anthony Davis, who so far 4 games, 4 double-doubles for the big man in the middle, 25 points per game, nearly 12 rebounds, over 1.8 steals per contest, to give you 1.5 blocks per game as well. PJ Washington off to a strong start as well for your Mavericks, averaging nearly 17 points per game while giving you 7.5 rebounds per contest. D'Angelo Russell's been the man when he's got his opportunities, leading your team in assists so far this year, averaging 5.5 assists per contest in the 4 games that he's played. I saw in the chat someone mentioned that the idea that this could be a mid-off tonight. Yes, you've got the worst offensive rated team in the league taking on the second worst offensive rated team in the league in the Indiana Pacers, who have an offensive rating right now currently of 106.1, 9th worst defensive rating, which equals, boys and girls, to the 4th worst net rating in all of the association right now. You would say, Kevin, of course, they've got a lot of guys out, including, of course, their number 1 guy, Tyrese Halliburton. But it has just been ugly in a number of ways offensively. And for this team, how do they find a way to score points of what we think is supposed to be and what has been a top 12 defense so far in the first few games of the year against this Mavericks?
They don't. The Pacers, with all of the guys out, I mean, even you know, one thing the Pacers have in common with the Mavs right now is that all of their playmakers are hurt, right? Tyrese Halliburton and TJ McConnell are out. Kyrie's out for the Mavs. Dante Exum is out. The Cooper point guard experiment hasn't gone very well so far. And so both of these teams are hurting for playmaking in a major way. But even, beyond that, the Pacers are now out Ben Mathurin and Obi Toppin, who have both played in their games up to this point. Those guys can at least do something with the ball. Tonight is the kind of night, like, the Pacers should not get to 90 points. Like, the Mavs need to just completely throttle them. Mac McClung, who the Pacers just signed out of the G League, is now their point guard. I don't know if he's starting for them. I haven't seen the starting lineups. I don't think they've come out yet, actually.
They cut James Wiseman to sign Mac McClung.
Yeah, no, James Wiseman is not, that's a tough situation for him, man. Has not gone according to plan, obviously.
For sure.
But Mac McClung has never played meaningful NBA minutes, and now he is the point guard on their team. Nembhard out, Mathurin out, Toppin out, Siakam is healthy. That's about it. Like, Ben Shepherd is not a really a point guard. Tyrese, obviously, TJ McConnell out. Like, all of the guys that starred for them, Miles Turner's not even on that team anymore.
That's right.
Like, their whole finals team is gone. The only player from that team that played meaningful minutes that's healthy right now is Siakam, and he is not really the kind of guy, even less so than Anthony Davis, that you want to run your whole offense through. I mean, he can kind of be a hub, but he's mostly a post-up guy, face-up, mid-post kind of thing. Like, he's not really initiating anything, and so it should be really, really tough for the Pacers to get into any offense tonight for prolonged stretches. Like, if the Mavs just take care of the ball, then the Pacers should have a really hard time even cracking 90.
This is the team in Indiana so far this year. It's 19th in the NBA in scoring, averaging 116 points per game as a team. The Mavericks will look to stifle that offense tonight in the game. The Mavericks and Pacers, of course, playing the first of 2 regular season matchups against each other this year. They'll next play each other on February 22nd in Indianapolis. Of course, last year, the Pacers swept the season series 2-0 in the regular season. In fact, they scored at least 134 points in each of the 2 wins that they had against Dallas last year. Of course, they beat them in a 135-131 thriller over the Mavericks back on March 19th earlier this year. So 2 teams that are very familiar with each other, obviously, with Rick Carlisle, former Dallas Mavericks head coach and NBA champion with this franchise, returning with the Pacers after they made an incredible run to the finals last year, of course, losing in 7 games to Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and the Oklahoma City Thunder. A very different Pacer team coming in tonight with the plethora of injuries that they have. Meanwhile, the Mavericks dealing with some injuries of their own, which we'll get to here in a few moments. We'll let you know who's in and who's out, and we'll also welcome in our DLLS Mavs beat writer Ron Harrod Jr. live from the American Airlines Center. Before we get to all that, though, let's help you win some money tonight when it comes to Prize Picks.
My Prize Picks pick of the night, I slid down the sliders to easy mode on all these, like the friendliest devil emoji that you can get.
Oh, you wanted to get some easy dubs tonight.
I'm trying. Now I'm gonna really be bumming if I fail tonight.
You miss on these, huh?
D'Angelo Russell, more than 3.5 assists tonight.
He's averaging 5.5. I think you can clear that.
I think D'Lo can do that.
I think you can clear that.
Max Christie, more than 8.5 points. That dude he's shooting it pretty well right now.
I think you can clear that too.
He's getting double figures a lot.
All right.
And then Pascal Siakam, more than 6.5 rebounds. The Pacers in their last game started both Jay Huff and Isaiah Jackson, but Siakam out-rebounded all of them, or both of those guys and all the other starters as well. So I feel pretty good.
Mavs killer Jay Huff.
Yeah, no, you're not kidding there. But I do feel confident about Siakam's ability to grab some boards. And so that is my prize pick of the night. A $5 pick would win me $12. How about that? That'd be pretty cool.
All right.
The reason I talk about $5 is because if you download Prize Picks today and use code DLLS, your first $5 play, they will deposit $50 worth of plays right into your account. Boom. And you can use that money to buy a yacht and move to sail the 7 seas
with Klay Thompson.
And well, hopefully Klay is going to stick around with the team. But if something happens to Klay and he is able to sail the 7 seas, then he can sail with you.
There you go. I feel good about your voices.
I hope so badly.
It's good to be right.
So much.
Let's be right, Bobby. Let's welcome in our DLLS Mavs beat writer. He knows sports. He is, of course, Ron Harrod Jr. on this Wednesday evening. Ron, what's going on?
Hey, everybody. How you all doing?
Doing well. Looking forward to the Mavericks taking on the Pacers tonight. See if they can get a win to salvage this homestand a little bit. Before we get to our guy, Ron, let's let you know who's in and who's out tonight for both Indiana and your Dallas Mavericks. We'll start with the Indiana Pacers, who have a litany of injuries to speak of for their squad. Let's start with Johnny Furphy. He's out tonight with a bone bruise in his left foot. Ben Mathurin, he's out tonight with a right big toe sprain. TJ McConnell, he's out with a left hamstring strain. Let's see. Andrew Nembhard, also out tonight. He's got a left shoulder strain. Obi Toppin, he's going to be out at least a month. He's got a stress fracture in his right foot. And Tylen Peter is out with a strained right groin. So a lot of guys not going to be available tonight for the Indiana Pacers. Meanwhile, for your Dallas Mavericks, Daniel Gafford, he is out again tonight. He misses his 5th straight game to start the year.
Ever going to play?
With that right ankle sprain. Let's hope so at some point.
Man.
So he's missed out. Will be the first 5 games of the year.
It's a serious ankle sprain. It's been like a month.
Yeah, it happened during the first day of training camp in Vancouver, and he's been trying to work back from that ankle.
Yeah, I mean, that is 4 weeks ago now.
Yeah.
His initial timeline was 2 to 3.
Exactly. So hopefully at some point he'll get on the floor here soon. Interesting enough with Derek Live II. Now, he was out of the game against the Oklahoma City Thunder with what was a right knee contusion. It has now turned into a right knee sprain for Derek Live II. So he'll miss his 2nd straight game with that knee injury. Anthony Davis is available. Now, he popped up on the injury report yesterday with tendonitis in not one, but both of his Achilles. They call it officially bilateral Achilles tendinopathy. So there you go. But he is available and good to go tonight. Kyrie Irving and Dante Exum remain out. Ron, Jason Kidd has already spoken to the media. What did he have to say about Anthony Davis? Is he a full go? Will there be any minutes restricted for him? What's the plan for AD tonight against Indiana?
Yeah, Jason Kidd is usually not too forthcoming with roles and injuries. So he didn't sound like Anthony Davis would be on any type of minutes restriction. It sounds like he's a full go. I saw him warming up. If I didn't look at the injury report, I wouldn't know anything that was different. If I had to guess, it's probably like the injury report reads. It's probably a lot of soreness in his Achilles. But he warmed a typical routine. He walked into some NBA young boys. Usually he does with the speakers blasting in there. Pretty fine. And also with Daniel Gafford, or people talking about, you all kind of question the Gafford thing. I did see him at morning shoot around. He was not in slides. That's an update from the previous morning shoot arounds that I've been to. So it looks like he's progressing.
And that's good to know because the Mavericks need all the size they can get with their dependency on the big men that they have on this team. One person I did not mention specifically is going to talk to Ron about it for just a quick second. Brandon Williams is available to play tonight for the Dallas Mavericks. And Ron, he spoke with the media prior to tonight's game. What more can you tell us?
Yeah, just paraphrasing, he said, I'm apologizing for the most recent incident. I can't take much about it. It's ongoing, about the arrest. I just want to apologize for being a distraction, especially at a time when we were 0-2 and everyone, was kind of shooting at us. It was not an ideal time at all. Like I said, I wanted to take full responsibility. And he said, now it's time to move on now. That's kind of how he ended his statement. And I spoke to Jason Kidd, at the conference prior to the game. He said that's something that Brandon Williams has to deal with, and we can only be there to support him. I gave a follow-up question on his role, and he said we would like to have him on the floor.
Okay, I would like to have him on the floor too. I mean, obviously, his qualities are not a lot of other guys on the team can do what he does, as far as quickness, playmaking, things like that. So, and he didn't play at all in camp and has only played a couple minutes so far this season. I mean, they need him out there for sure.
We'll see if he gets some opportunities tonight against the Indiana Pacers. Meanwhile, D'Angelo Russell, who has been playing well, averaging 5.5 assists per game, look to get some minutes as well against this Indiana squad. That gets us to our Mavericks player spotlight. We focus on the bench, staying with the bench, and let's look at Jaden Hardy. And Jaden Hardy, who in the last game was able to provide a spark for this Mavericks team so far this year, shooting 45.5% from downtown and helping provide what was a spark for a Mavericks team that against Oklahoma City went on a 24-4 run to help them close within one before ultimately falling to Oklahoma City. But Jason Kidd has gone to him a couple of times when looking for offense in that game against OKC. Hardy finished with what was 11 points and 2 steals in the 21 minutes. In fact, those 21 minutes, the most that he's played so far in the early portion of the season. Jaden Hardy met with us earlier today after shoot-around, discuss how much more comfortable he's getting, not only with his game, but with his role on this team and what the team is asking of him to do so far this season. Here's what Jaden Hardy had to say.
I'm constantly growing. I feel like every game that I play, I get better. I try to learn from it. And, that's all I can ask for, try to get 1% better every day. And, I feel like I'm on track. That's what I've been doing, keeping my mental right, just to staying positive, lifting my teammates up. And, everything else I feel like will fall in place for me. So.
And Ron, of course, this is a player who has been maligned at times, a player that has been written off at times, but at least in a couple of moments this year has found ways to help contribute. And Jason Kidd looking to him to find some offense. He did so in that fourth quarter, and we'll see how that continues to grow his confidence as the season goes on.
Definitely. I mean, Jaden Hardy was in one of the lineups in the fourth quarter that outscored the Oklahoma City Thunder 20-4. So I think Jason Kidd showed that he will ride the hot hand. I'm pretty sure he doesn't enter the game thinking Jaden Hardy is necessarily going to be in his closing lineup. But at the end of the day, if he's on the court, the team is playing well. Like you say, he shot the ball well. He had over 10 points in the game. He's been one of the team's best three-point shooters. He's providing value right now. I made a tweet before the game asking Mavs fans, do you think that Jaden Hardy can be this team's spark plug? A lot of teams have their version of a Lou Williams on the bench. Can Jaden Hardy kind of craft his role as like a 15 to 18-minute guy that can just kind of just give you some quick, efficient, hopefully, points?
Bobby, we've seen this from Jaden Hardy throughout his career. There'll be times and spurts where he has, a good 5-6 game stretch and then will disappear. We'll have a 2-3 game stretch that plays well and kind of disappears. How does he at some point find consistency, or is that just not maybe an opportunity that he will have here given the amount of guys that are in front of him at this point?
It's hard to find consistency if you don't play a lot of minutes. So it's kind of it's like it's not a chicken and egg thing. What do you call it? Where it's like a paradox, right? Mm. The only way that you can become consistent really is by playing a lot, but the only way that you can play a lot is by being consistent. So it's really hard. I mean, it's going to be hard for him to do that here because, even on a team that is hurting for guards, they need guards that can do things that he can't really do. Right now, he's getting minutes because the things that he's really good at shooting are things that Clay is really struggling with, and D'Lo at times has really struggled with too. So there is an opportunity for him, but yeah, I mean, if he cools off, then J. Kidd is going to sit him in. It's going to be a while before we see him again.
So we'll see if he can find some opportunities tonight to be able to help out this offense that has struggled mightily so far this year to take on a team that's also done the same offensively as well. That gets us to our X factors going into tonight's game. Ron, we'll start with you on this one because The Mavericks have been lauded for the amount of size that they have. They're going to be down some size tonight with no Daniel Gafford and no Derek Lively once again, which means the big man in the middle, AD, is going to have to do his primary work at the 5 once again. But the Mavericks as a team are going to have to hold their own on the glass. So far this year, Indiana 5th in the NBA, averaging over 49 rebounds per contest as a team. The Mavericks were out-rebounded by 19 against Oklahoma City, what was 55-36 in that loss a couple of nights ago. Collectively, Ron, this team will have to rebound as a group, starting with Cooper Flagg and others to be able to help out AD on the glass tonight.
Definitely. I mean, Indiana is a team that wants to get out and run. So once someone grabs a rebound, they're outletting pass ahead and they're trying to get to the basket. The Mavs actually are one of the better teams in transition defense, but the frequency was really high through the first 3 games, especially. They were like the worst team. Teams got in the most transition situations against the Mavs in their first 3 contests. So they have to also just make sure they're not allowing Indiana to be able to run on the floor. But with players like Benedict Mathurin out, I think the Mavs should have a better chance of holding their own. But like you said, they do have to rebound the basketball.
And they'll need to do so with a guy in Cooper Flagg who's looking for a bounce-back game. We mentioned a little bit earlier, just 1 of 9 from the field, had 2 points, was a -20 in that game against Oklahoma City. Is going to be able to be good to go tonight. He was dealing with that left shoulder issue that he suffered in the first 30 seconds of the game against Oklahoma City, but he was working out early tonight and is ready to go for the Dallas Mavericks. That gets us to number 2, Bobby. We'll start with you on this one because the idea that we talk about the Pacers in their name, they like to get out on the break. In fact, the Pacers love to get out on the fast break. So far this year, 4th in the NBA, averaging 21 points per game in the fast break. So if you're the Mavericks, who talk a lot about playing in transition, getting back with their transition defense, that in some ways could get put to the test tonight because, as Ron mentioned, the Pacers love to get out and run and have done so effectively as far as our fast break points are concerned so far this year.
Yeah, but they're not as dangerous because Halliburton and McConnell, like all these decision makers, are out, and so that's why, like I said earlier, it's not so much about like the stress test, right? That Max Christie's talking about. Like their whole defense is not going to be put to the test. It's just, hey, I'm guarding that guy. He's running fast. I got to keep up with him. Like that's it. You are better than them. You are bigger than them and stronger than them and more talented than them, even whenever you're not playing very well. So just don't let your man beat you down the floor. Like that's it. You just have to run. You just have to run.
Yeah, and one of the things you talk about all the time is that for this team to be effective night after night, playing every possession as hard as they can consistently night in and night out, you'll need to do that against the Indiana Pacers team that's shorthanded, even with the guys that are out, because this is not a team that you could take lightly, even with the amount of talent that they're missing. They will be a well-coached team with Rick Carlisle at the helm, running this group no matter who is on the floor. That gets us to our final X Factor on time. Again, if you're going to be watching tonight's game, tip-off at 7:30 p.m. You can watch it on KFAA Channel 29 or on NBA TV if you're out of market. We'll have our post-game show about 15 minutes after the final buzzer. X Factor number 3. Ron, the Mavericks got to force the issue on the defensive end and convert off of turnovers. The Pacers this year, so far in their first few games, allowing nearly 20 points per game to their opponents off turnovers this season. The Mavericks have got to make the Pacers pay for the mistakes that they make by converting off their turnovers to get themselves some easy buckets as well.
Yeah, I mean, Tyrese Halliburton is one of the elite playmakers in the NBA. But again, without him not playing in the game, he's out presumably for the season. This Pacers team is not going to be able to have that elite passer on the fast break. So while they still will run a similar offense, but you kind of don't have the captain of the ship, it's going to take a small hit, even if they have other players that are capable of running some of the offense. So when they're making some of those ill-advised passes or some more risky passes that might not be as accurate as Tyrese Halliburton, the Mavs have to be in those pass lanes. And a player like Cooper Flagg, that might be a great way for him to kind of get back into the game. He has long arms. If Cooper Flagg can get a steal and get some fast break dunks and get those easy points, that builds your confidence. And then that even could probably unlock his jump shot.
And we'll see if that can happen tonight as the Mavericks look to get a win to salvage their homestand, where they've gotten off to a 1-3 start. If they get a win tonight, they'll move to 2-3 before they get ready to head to Mexico City to play the Detroit Pistons on Saturday night. You know what time that game starts on Saturday night?
I don't want to know. Just don't tell me.
I'll tell you.
Let me show up here at 5:30 on Saturday and just
vibe.
Be fine.
Just vibe out from there.
Yep,
Got it.
It's gonna be good.
Yeah, I just looked at the time. Not great.
Don't worry. Don't tell Bobby. We'll tell him later. Ron, we appreciate the time as always. We look forward to talking to you on the postgame show here on DLLS Mavs, man. Appreciate the time.
See y'all later.
Bye, Ron.
You can find Ron on Twitter at Ron Knows Sports. That'll do it for us here on the DLLS Mavs pregame show. Appreciate our guy Tanner making us look good and sound good as always. Thank you, sir. We'll be back here about 15 minutes or less after the final buzzer of tonight's game between the Mavericks and the Pacers. Our national NBA insider Mark Stein will be joining us on the program as well. That is our DLLS Mavs analyst Bobby Curl. I'm your host Kevin Gray. We are DLLS Mavs. We'll talk to you post game after your Mavericks take on the Indiana Pacers at the AAC. Y'all be good. We'll talk to you later. Peace.
We all silly like the mayor.